Major funding for these broadcasts has been provided by grants from Madison Realty Capital, Capital One Bank, Eastern Consolidated, New York Community Bank, M&T Bank, Sterling National Bank, Meridian Capital Group, Customers Bank, AmTrust Title, Ariel Property Advisors, Dime Community Bank. Additional funding has been provided by AVR Realty Company, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Briarwood Organization, CBRE, Chase Commercial Term Lending, Chase Mortgage Lending, Citizens Bank, CPEX Real Estate Services, Colliers International NYC, Collins Building Services, Douglaston Development, Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handler Real Estate Organization, Handro Properties, Hodges Ward Elliott, Inc., Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, Kilroy Architectural Windows, Matone Group, Mercantile Bank, New Banks, Newmark Knight Frank, Optimum Window Manufacturing Corp., People's United Bank, Rockefeller Group, Rosewood Realty Group, SJP Properties, Stonehenge NYC, TD Bank, Terra CRG, the Meringoff Family Foundation, the Moynihan Organization, Moynihan Capital Partners, and these friends.
E-commerce, distribution, warehousing, that's a big item. Today, the market seems really interesting and strong for the industrial market. So to verify the feelings, I've brought together 4 individuals today to provide their insight on that market. My guests include a owner of warehouses, Joe Farkas, who is the founder and CEO of Metropolitan Realty Associates. The banker, the man who lends on warehouses, Bill Butler of Citizens Bank, Senior Vice President, Commercial Real Estate. The man who has a unique perspective on warehouses, parking spots next to warehouses, distribution, Alan Dern, the founder and CEO of the One Stop Property Group. And last but not least, the man who sells warehouses, leases warehouses, Brad Cohn, who's a Senior Director at Eastern Consolidated. So you bought a couple of warehouses recently. You've been leasing some warehouses. You've been financing. You've been selling. How's the market? Brad.
I got a smile on my face. It's active. It's extremely active out there. There's a ton of there's just a ton of buyers in the marketplace. Not enough supply.
You went into the market about 3 or 4 years now?
Two years ago, we purchased our first building in Long Island City. And then subsequently thereafter, about 10 months, a year later, we bought our second building. With different business plans, each had a different business plan, and each has morphed with the market. So our first building, Hub LIC, which is a full block building, 330,000 feet with parking, we purchased to create creative office space and bring retail to Long Island City, which we saw a great need for. But the shifting dynamics of the creative office market led us more to an industrial end user. The other side of that coin was in our second building, which we called Commerce LIC, another fantastic building, well located building by transportation. We always knew was going to stay as an industrial building. We never had a business plan to change that use. But truth be told, while our basis is extremely low in the building, $200 a foot on both deals, which we like a lot, the market from a leasing standpoint has pulled back a little bit on the industrial front as well as on the creative office side. There's There's been a lot of talk of pent-up demand. As you mentioned, Brad, it's slowly occurring. We see it happening with much smaller users, not the big traditional 100, 200,000 square foot distribution companies that you might see out in the burbs or New Jersey in particular. I would say that Long Island City and the boroughs in general have always been a 5 to 10, maybe 15,000 square foot industrial market. It's a lot of the traditional users that have been in the market for the last 50 years.
So we're not seeing the Bloomingdales or the Ralph Laurens who did sign leases up in Long Island City. They're not coming back as fast as they were?
Well, on the creative office side, no. On the industrial side, I would say not in those types of big blocks, not in the 100, 200,000 foot spaces. I really see much smaller space demand.
Alan, you're a unique breed. Tell us about your business and what because you see all different perspectives of industrial and warehousing and distribution.
So I'm agreeing with Joe. We've found some real bargains in renting large spaces. We've rented 3 large buildings in the last 3 months because our market is 3,000 square foot to 10,000 square feet. We took the mini storage model and we put it into industrial.
Explain for my viewers what do you mean?
So we pretty much we take a big plate and we cut it up. We cut to suit. If somebody comes in and they need.
But you don't have the ping pong tables.
No.
We have a ping pong table.
It starts with the land. You know, everybody who needs warehouse space usually needs some land. They're in construction business. They're in food distribution. They're in film and production. So if someone comes in and they want 7,000 square feet, and we have 25,000 square feet left of a 50,000 square feet building, we'll give them just the 7,000 square feet. We may be getting a premium for that 7,000 square feet, but they could expand, they could extract, they could leave at any time on 30 days notice, and they're only spending for what they need.
What is the normal term? How long does somebody normally stay in space?
Oh,
I mean, because they do have the 30-day notice, and there are tenants who are going to be there for 30 days. But what's the average turn with all these years of experience that you've seen?
So I've got many tenants that are still with us since we commenced this 26 years ago. But I'd say the average turnaround is between 4 and 6 years.
Right.
And we like it when they leave because then we're able to get that market bump.
We've taken that model, just adjusted it a little bit further. We've taken a 40,000 foot floor plate, we've divided it, and we're leasing to those smaller tenants, but we're looking for term. We're not going to give them the same month to month, year by year, and then wait the 6 years.
Are you giving them anything in the space, or are you just saying here are the four walls?
Yeah, we're demising the space. We're bringing in baseline services for electric panel, fire alarm, and fire sprinkler, and then they're coming in if they need anything beyond that. But that's where we're getting the premium in the rents today.
And
The big difference between what I do and what you do is you're looking for a credit-worthy tenant, and you're looking for them to stay there for a term.
Sure.
We have such volume and critical mass, it doesn't really matter to us. If Paramount TV just took a space for 6 months, as soon as they left, HBO moved in. We just have that type of volume, that type of reputation, that if you need something on a month-to-month basis and you don't know how long you're going to be there, you don't know if the show's going to get canceled, it's going to run, expand,
We're looking
extract.
for mature tenants,
Right.
a little bit more mature.
Or the opposite.
Right.
Now, Brad, you've recently sold the Boulevard building, and now you're leasing it. Let's talk about some of what you see. I mean, the interesting thing is we were talking, you're Queens, but you're also Brooklyn.
Queens and
Okay, so it's a different market. You're not into Manhattan and the Bronx.
No.
What are you seeing today?
In Queens specifically, we're seeing a tremendous demand for fleet parkers. The guys that need to park trucks, whether they're equipment rentals or in the transportation services business, like a bus services company. Those guys need office space. They also need parking. And it's not so easy to find parking these days. Alan, I know you have a huge portfolio of parking, and I'm sure that the vacancy rate is relatively low.
0.
And the credit users that we all need to finance these properties, those guys, they want the term. Alan can't give it to them. They're willing to live with Alan's term because there's no alternatives in the market.
So when we talk parking, on the auto parking, you have the capability of putting the layering it,
Stackers.
The stackers. Do you have stackers in your place?
I mean, in commercial parking, you really can't do it.
No, commercial parking, I know, but
Which is all we do. We're commercial, heavy industrial. We're talking waste companies, demolition companies, construction companies, bus companies. I park fleets of trucks for Hertz and Cisco and things like that. Satellites. So we have over 90 acres under our control.
now how do people find out about you?
A lot of it is word of mouth. A lot of it is very simple advertising on your usual CoStar, LoopNet, Craigslist, website. Now I'm on 1010 Wins News.
But Craigslist has been beneficial to you?
Oh yeah, very, very. For a small user who's looking for 6,000 square feet to put a couple of sea containers and some throw-down construction equipment, a couple of Bobcats, perfect.
So, banker, Mr. Butler, how do you look at this? You're hearing all this positive, and then tell me about the deal that you recently did near JFK Airport.
From your perspective, you guys live and breathe industrial 24/7. That's your business. We're really risk versus return. So we're looking at multifamily, we look at retail, we're looking at office, and we try to find out where we get the best return for the least amount of risk. And the analysis on industrial, particularly over the last several years, I think the vacancy rates have dropped from a little over 10% to 4.8% currently, with an average, annual increase of like 5% on rent. It's a strong market. There's a lot of capital going into it. There's good construction opportunities, and as a commercial bank, we do a lot of construction financing.
So how come you went to, I liked the deal that you did in near
in South
JFK,
Conduit,
right?
out in by JFK.
What were the underwriting characteristics that made you feel comfortable with that type of deal?
On that industrial, it's interesting because it's not like some of our other standard one-story industrial investments. It'll be a multi-story, three-story industrial, and it's last mile point of delivery, so it's right by the airport, and it really ties into a lot of the industrial uses or consumer providers, because it's consumerism that's really growing right now, not the major investments in infrastructure nationally. Consumerism is what's really carrying the economy. Doesn't help for a lot of the pay scale, but nonetheless, the providers like that last point of delivery. And consumerism, electronics, food and beverage, these users like to be where you have urban centers, densely populated areas, and where there's relative wealth. So the one out in South Conduit, it was interesting because you really have a tightness of space. So they decided, like many other forms of real estate, to go vertical, which is really novel for the whole industrial market. So they'll have some underground parking, they'll have 3 stories above, they'll have cross dock, and they're right close to the airport, and they're close to the New York market. And I think last I saw or heard, they had less than 3% of New York City's land is allocated to industrial. So there's a real need for good available industrial by an airport, by the road system. They all have to be by highways as far as we're concerned. The ceiling height is important to us. For that multi-story, they're 24 to 26 feet, so that's acceptable. So we found it to be a good investment. We have good recourse. We have equity going in of 30%, 35%. And we have good pricing, so we thought it was a good alternative. It's a short-term loan. When they do the construction within 24 months, we'll be there to go vertical.
I think that's a fantastic deal. New construction is definitely a needed product type in the market, particularly with the higher ceiling heights. The 24 to 26 foot clear ceiling heights are not available in a lot of these borough buildings. And as we've had conversations, and MRA has spent a lot of time investigating the market for opportunities like this. The only drawback that we see is the number of users that can take that amount of space and pay the price, what seems to be a premium for new construction in the industrial
but here's something for all of you. Amazon takes space all over. True, they want the 500,000 square foot industrial space in Staten Island, but that's a certain core. But they've been using spaces up in Harlem. They've been renting smaller spaces because they need this for Amazon Prime, for the grocery delivery system. Have you seen the e-commerce companies come to look at your property that you're renting and leasing today? And
Absolutely, yeah. Jet.com. I'm sure everybody just read about the Jet.com deal that was signed in the Bronx in Prologis' multi-story office industrial building. They were looking in every borough, in Queens, in Brooklyn, before they settled in the Bronx. And in fact, that was slated to be an Amazon deal. Amazon pulled out of that deal at the 11th hour.
right, so but besides Amazon, you have a lot of e-commerce companies who are doing distributions over there. And then, we were talking about the beverage companies before, that today craft beer is becoming big. Kombucha is being big, and even whiskey is being produced in a variety of places. And that's what happened in Williamsburg. Do you see some of the industrial properties that you have being converted to slightly retail?
So we have a kombucha guy, we have 4 craft beer guys, and the last mile guys, the e-commerce guys. We just did a deal last week with Parcel, who was purchased by Walmart. They rented one of our cross docks, which is the most valuable industrial piece there is.
What is a cross dock?
A cross dock is land on both sides. So a tractor trailer come in on one side, a box truck on the other side, and it's a long straight building with many loading dock doors, so you can upload on one side and download on the other side. It's the perfect solution to distribution. I mean, we get calls every day from companies like Cintas. I mean, it's just it's the hardest to find.
Yeah.
And we have a significant amount of it because most of our industrial parks are 3 times the land is warehouse and 3 times the warehouse is office, because it starts with the land for us. And that is truly the best space. So yes, we have the kombucha guys, we have the beer guys, we have artists, we have all that hipster, sexy kind of stuff, but we also have that last mile. And that last mile is what keeps us in business. We park their trucks, they have a cross dock, and they're paying top dollar.
How much space are they leasing?
So, for instance, Parcel, who's purchased by Walmart, it's a fulfillment center, which was one of your questions. Is Amazon opening up? It's a fulfillment center, and it's in Ridgewood, Maspeth, and they took 12,000 square feet of office and 7,000 square feet of land, which is a good average for us.
Yeah.
And how long do you think they'll be there?
Would you believe they took it on a month-to-month basis on the trust that we never push anybody out of a warehouse, that it goes perpetually until the property is either going to be sold or developed, and there's no plans for that.
Now, what happens, in the WeWork model, in the office WeWork, they can raise the rents. How is someone secure on their rent? I mean, they go to your building, they're going to have a rent, they're going to know about it for 5 or 10 years.
So it's a great question. So in our license agreement, there's a fixed increase. It's an annual increase. It includes both base tax increases, real estate taxes, and an annual 3%. So we raise 5% annually, which is 3% is your standard commercial, annual bump, and then we add 2% for base tax real estates, because we're paying the taxes, and we get 5% annual bumps, and the price is locked in.
I think I'm getting out of banking and going into his business. That's.
Now, but you also said you manage for certain owners' property.
We do. We manage for Cornerstone. We manage for Western Beef, who's partners with one of the Ashkenazi groups. We manage for Phoenix Beverage in the city of New York and the Port Authority. I manage for some of my partners, which is how they became my partners. So we manage for about 10 different groups.
I mean, Brooklyn Navy Yard last year built converted a building which was 1 million square feet. So, 1 million square feet is a lot of space, and it's not great transportation for their employees. Right. It's a same thing in your Red Hook properties, but it's a different customer that they don't have to worry about their employees. There aren't that many people. They can go to the space and they can park. Even though we're constrained, we do have these large industrial, the Sunset Park Industrial Market, the other properties. Are they competitors to what you're seeing today, all of you?
They're not competitors of mine, because what Andrew Kimball has done in Sunset Park with Jamestown is tremendous, but they have a serious lack of parking which may be solved in the near future because of the deal that was just made at the South Brooklyn Marine Terminal. But my business starts with the parking. The wheels, you're a distribution company, you're a construction company, you need storage, you need office. It's all there to augment what we originally started to do, which is commercial parking.
I agree. Both of my buildings have fantastic parking, acre parking lots, but not so much geared to big WB67 or 50 trucks. It's really because a lot of these companies now, especially these e-commerce companies and the last mile distribution companies, have employees that need to do all this moving and boxing and fixing, and you need to remember that transportation is always key. So subway access, as you're talking about Sunset Park, subway access in Long Island City is fantastic. You've got every train coming into Court Square and then feeding off of that. Our buildings are right on the 7 line. You can't forget about the employees. So along with parking, you've got to have great transportation, and that's what these folks are looking for.
PT is key.
What about the Gowanus?
The Gowanus is one of those areas where we feel, they're industrial and retail are kind of neck and neck in terms of rent. I think that there's industrial users getting pushed out every day of, prime side streets of the Gowanus. It's very similar to Williamsburg in that the side streets really filled in first. They're stronger than the avenues. Co-tenancy is much better on the side streets. So Gowanus is not really attracting long-term industrial users. I think with the exception of Willentis' site, the Pathmark site, which not during this administration, but certainly down the road.
I did a panel with Jed on the panel. He did that for 1031. He said, I'm not doing anything on the market. I'm not fighting with the administration for a period of time. And he said, I also have a Lowe's lease, which is for many, many years.
That's right.
It takes them a long time to buy them out. Who took over the Fresh Direct warehouse site?
Well, I know, but I don't know if I could say.
No.
Because I will be managing half of the warehouse.
So how many square feet was that?
It's 200,000 square feet. It'll be leased to a major user. I don't know if it was signed yet, but it's this close, and we have a deal to manage half of that property.
Okay, so when you manage that, it's not your traditional management. It's overall. You're not leasing it.
No, we're not leasing it. We're managing it for the lessee.
New owner. Okay.
For the lessee.
For the lessee. Now, talk to me about the Boulevard site that you sold.
Sure. So it's roughly 100,000 square foot building. Cutting back part of the building. Torino Realty Trust, a REIT out of San Francisco, purchased it. It's not their first deal in the market, but certainly a big splash into the boroughs. Very visible site. They're previously an owner at the JFK terminal. The plan is to really cut back the building, create better circulation around the building. We feel that, given its proximity to the BQE, it's on the BQE. You can shoot off to any borough and be in the city in minutes. So we're seeing a lot of the 3PLs. We haven't talked much about 3PL, but FedEx, UPS, all those guys are looking at the property because it's a natural last mile play, being that it is
right next to the airport.
That's right, and minutes to.
When you bring up Torino, okay, we have a local operator owners. Now we're talking about the Torino and the Prologics. So the big boys, as they would say, are coming in. Have you seen losing the sales or the opportunities to the big boys, or have they made a commitment to be here?
I think the big boys are putting their money to work, and they're not getting rid of the space fast enough. That's what we're feeling. We see they're coming in and they're buying because we have this great emerging market, probably the sexiest market in the country right now, right? Industrial, 10 minutes from Manhattan. But then they're stuck with 150, 200,000 square foot warehouse that they're going to cut up. They're not going to lease it long term to FedEx, Amazon, UPS, or any of that because they seem to be firmly planted and looking for that last mile core now.
Right. That was really more to my point that there's only so many big users in the market that can take down the 150,000 square footers, 200,000 square footers that these guys are coming in and buying, basing their business plans around. And then it gets down to the nitty gritty of, okay, I got to lease it. So now I've got to do the hard work of figuring out what the market really is. How do I really break up my space? How do I really lease the building? And that's what local owner operators are best at.
So here's the question. Brad brings up, and all of you bring up, the FedEx, DHL, the other companies like that. You as a banker, you like that type of credit better than the others. But don't they need they need spaces? Where are they expanding themselves today? Where are they?
From what we're seeing too, they're not always going to the major markets because the land is very tight and it's gotten very expensive. So they're going to some of the subordinate tertiary markets. You know, we may have had the conversation that we're doing a loan on spec down in Greenville, South Carolina. You know, who would ever think it would be down there? But has the road infrastructure, the interstates there. You get the port, the Charleston access. You have the airport nearby. So, you know, you look for those qualities, and you wouldn't think that that would be an A location, but the vacancy rate in the local market down there is less than 2.5%. So I think a lot of them are kind of maybe on the ancillary, but still looking for those major, you know, components of being by the airport, being by the road system, the interstates, the transportation, which is kind of hard to find around New York City. And I can think that industrial is only going to get more valuable here. You know, to your point, there's less and less of it because it's being bought out. When you think about the alternative uses, you know, how much has gone to multifamily? You know, how much has gone to office?
I mean, if you take the Bronx specifically, a lot of the industrial property in the Bronx is being converted, being demolished, and being made multifamily.
It's not so different from any other borough. I mean, look at Dumbo, look at Williamsburg, South Bronx,
Look at Long Island City.
Long Island City.
Long Island
These
City,
are all
right?
places. It's a perfect storm of, you know, a
So
dwindling
you have
supply.
But you have that opportunity to go to Staten Island.
We're going to Staten Island. We just did our first deal in Staten Island. We feel if Matrix is building these warehouses for Amazon, and we drove the areas, there's not much industrial land
There
that's
isn't.
actually available. So we just grabbed a couple of acres, and we're going to give it the old college try. But I wanted to say something about what Joe said, and if you think about it, it's 1,000% right. With the L train,
Thousand.
with
Awesome.
the L train going down, we just found a whole bunch of bargains down in the Bushwick area.
That's
I mean,
interesting.
they're panicking.
It's like the 3rd Avenue line up in the Bronx.
Tenants leave. You got L train work for 2.5, 3 years. Who are we going to rent it to? What are we going to do?
Yeah.
So selling, renting cheap. Just
Fortunately, the ferries are helping.
Yeah. However you divide it up, I mean, e-commerce is expanding at 16% annually, growing. Yeah, I'm not sure what the total bankruptcies were over the first quarter of 2018, but I think there were like 9 or 10. So e-commerce is really the driving force, and the fact that you have less than 5% overall vacancy nationally, it's just a product type that's just going to become more popular.
So if I, you know, if I had to play with my apple over here, my crystal apple, where I say, is it good or bad? I'd say the industrial market is strong. I say you have to evaluate what the real opportunities are. Okay, many people are overzealous of what they think they can get, but if you're realistic, it'll be leased, and over time, it's still a good market.
Yes.
And I'd like to thank Joe, our banker, Mr. Butler, Alan, and Brad, and I'll see you next week.